Hi there, I'm Wayne Jennings and I'm checking out a new little action camera. This is the Campark X40 and it's a nice little compact camera. It'll shoot 4K video, but the nice thing about this, it has dual display screens. So your traditional screen on the back, but it also has a little screen on the front, which is great. If I want to get a selfie shot, I can see exactly what the camera sees. The Campark X40 Action Camera features front and rear color display screens. It has a 170-degree wide-angle fisheye lens and will record 720 video at 30, 60, 120, or up to 240 frames per second, 1080 video at 30, 60, or 120 frames per second, 2.7K video at 30 frames per second, and 4K video at 30 frames per second. Still images can be captured in sizes from 8 to 20 megapixels, and it weighs in at a mere 70 grams. That's about 2.5 ounces. Now, here's a little sample of some of the video recorded using this camera. The Campark X40 comes with this waterproof housing that will let you submerge the camera down to a depth of 40 meters. That's 131 feet. Now, it also comes with this spare back door, but it is not waterproof. You'll notice it has these little open slots. That is to allow you to record better audio when it is not underwater, or you can run a strap through there and attach it to a tree or a post or something like that. It comes with a nice assortment of mounting brackets, and you get 2 quick release plates with extra adhesive pads, as well as various straps and zip ties to help secure your camera. There are 2 rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, rated at 1,350 milliamp hours, and a USB cable for charging. You also get this dual-function remote control, and there's a detailed user manual and a lens cleaning cloth. So here's the camera in the waterproof housing, and it seems pretty durable. It's pretty thick plastic. It's got a nice flat dome port on the front, so everything's going to be in focus, and it opens really easily. It's got this latch that has a metal hinge underneath, and there's a nice big O-ring around here to keep all the water out when it's underwater. Now the camera itself, well, it looks like your basic action camera. Big lens on the front, and this has a view screen on the front and one on the back, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's check out the ports. On this side we have a HDMI port, a USB port, and your micro SD card slot. Above that there's 3 little holes. That's the microphone. Now it would be nice if there was some kind of cover over there just to keep dirt and dust out. Unfortunately, that does not have a port covering. On the bottom, it's good to see there is a metal tripod socket. I always like that because it makes it so much easier to mount on a standard tripod, monopod, or a selfie stick. Beside that, we have the battery compartment cover. Now, I find it's a little difficult. It's a tiny little latch. You got to kind of get your fingernail in there. But when it does open, look at that. The cover comes right off. I don't like that. it should be hinged, because I think you could easily drop this and lose this. You know, I think it'd be so much better if there was a little hinge in there. On the far side, we have a couple up and down buttons, which you can use if you're not using the touch screen. There's also a little speaker down there for playing back video. On the top of the camera is a single button, which functions as your power switch, your shutter release, and it says OK on there. Again, you can use that if you're not using the touch screen to help cycle through the menu. There's a little LED beside it that glows when you have Wi-Fi connection. Now I'm just going to push and hold the power button for a second, and then your little splash screen, there you go, Campark, pops up, and then a second later it boots up, and there is your screen. It is a touch screen. Right now you see the little video camera icon. You can swipe from the side and then it changes to a little still camera. So now you're in photo mode. You can swipe from either side to switch between photo and video mode. There's a lot of features on this touchscreen. If you swipe from the top, it's like a quick menu to turn on Wi-Fi, power off your microphone, lock the camera, or a power switch there. If you swipe up from the bottom, you have your photo and video selections. So in this case, it's set to normal video, but I can also select slow motion video, loop video, time lapse, or if I have photo selected, I can also use normal photo or time lapse photos, burst photos, or self timer. But right now we'll leave it in video mode. I'll just get out of there and I'll show you once you're in video mode. If you hit this gear icon down here, it takes you into the menu. And now you can make all kinds of changes. In this case, resolution, if I hit that, you can scroll through and see all the different resolutions, find one you like, hit it and select it. There's a lot of other things on here. There's a image stabilizer, distortion correction, white balance, exposure setting, metering mode. So you can set the sharpness, video quality, ISO, all kinds of things you can do in there. There's also a sub-menu. If you hit that, there's other things you can do, like you can rotate the image upside down, turn your Wi-Fi on or off from here. You can have the LED indicator on or off. There's a screensaver, an auto power off option, change the language, format your SD card, date, time, things like that. As I said before, the nice thing about this camera is it does have these dual screens, and to get the front screen you just hit this mode button and hold it for a second, and then the back one switches off and the front one switches on. So as you can see, there I am in the front. This is just a really great way to frame up your shot. You can see how much headroom you have, you can see what's behind you. It just really sets this camera apart from others, allowing you to see exactly what it is you're shooting. Here's a little audio check using the Campark X40. Now, right now, I'm using this device. This is a digital audio recorder with a plug-in microphone. That way you can hear what good audio sounds like. But in a moment, I will turn this off. Then you hear my voice as the camera picks it up, and you can compare the two. So let me just stop this right now. Okay, that is no longer recording. What you're hearing is my voice as the camera picks it up. And I'm not very far away, you know, about arm's length. And actually, it's not bad audio at all. I'm pretty pleased with the quality that this little camera records. Very nice time-lapse segments can be recorded using the X40. You can record a single frame of video every half, 1, 2, 5, 10, 30 or 60 seconds. And still photos can be taken in sizes of 8, 13, 16 or 20 megapixels. Other photo settings include burst photo mode, a self timer, and long exposures of up to 30 seconds. Now this little camera will do slow motion video. It has 2 settings at 720 and 2 settings at 1080. Now I find the best way to demonstrate slow motion is if you grab yourself a rock, throw it in the water, and it makes a big splash. So let's see how that works. I found this camera tended to overexpose everything. Luckily, there is an exposure compensation setting. This allows you to raise or lower the exposure by 3 stops in 1-stop increments. The white balance can be left on automatic or set to sunny, cloudy, incandescent, or fluorescent. And the ISO can be left on automatic or set to 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200, or as high as 6400 ISO. This camera has an electronic image stabilizer. That's turned off right now. I'm just walking down this street, hand holding the camera about arm's length. I'll just turn around. There we are, just walking down the sidewalk. You can see how bumpy that is. Just turn around back at me. So that's with the image stabilizer turned off. I'm gonna go back, turn it on, and we'll see if it makes a difference. All right, so I've turned the electronic image stabilizer on. I'm walking down the same piece of sidewalk, holding the camera at the same angle, and we'll just turn around so you can see the shot walking down the sidewalk. It's definitely a little smoother, and back to me. So that is with the electronic image stabilizer turned on. This camera can be operated remotely using the included 2-button remote control, and it's really simple. This button here, if you push it, the red LED lights up, and the camera begins recording video until you hit it again. The bottom button is for taking a still picture. The better option for controlling your camera is to download the app to your phone or tablet. It's called DV King 4K, and once you're connected by Wi-Fi, you'll see the image on here, the same image that the camera is viewing. And if you hit the little video icon down there, the red light comes on and it starts to record. So you can record video remotely. You can also take pictures. And there's a lot of settings you can do on here. Like you can go in and select slow motion or loop recording or time lapse. Or if you hit the gear icon up here, you can go in and do all kinds of changes. You can change the video resolution. Just scroll through the one you want, select it, and it changes. Then you can go in and make all kinds of other changes like the image stabilizer, distortion correction, white balance, exposure setting, metering mode, sharpness, all kinds of settings you can make on there. And when you're ready, just hit the record button and record your scene. You can also view all the images that are stored on there. If you hit this button, it just takes a second or two to load, but basically all the photos and videos from your camera are then displayed on your phone here. You can scroll through them. If they're videos, you can play them back, and if they're photos, you can view them. This camera has a distortion correction function. All these wide angle lenses tend to distort the image. So if you notice the horizon behind me, it kind of curves down at the sides, but I'm going to turn the distortion correction feature on, and you'll see that horizon should level out. All right, so I've turned the distortion correction feature on, and as you can see from the horizon behind me, things are a lot more level. Well, to sum up, I was pretty pleased with the Campark X40 Action Camera and all the video I captured with it. I was particularly impressed with the lower end, like video I shot at 720 lines, looked really, really good. It almost looked like 1080. Now, at the other end, 4K, I was a little disappointed. I mean, you know, the image was okay, it was usable, but it just wasn't as sharp and crisp as I would expect from a 4K image. So I would suggest sticking with 1080 and 2.7. Those are your best choices for overall quality video. As far as audio goes, this camera does a pretty good job of picking up audio. It'd be better if you could plug in a microphone and get really good sound, but unfortunately it does not have that capability. On the downside, I found this camera would overexpose quite a bit. I mean, you know, that's common with a lot of cameras. They tend to overexpose when set on auto. But this one would overexpose like by 2 full f-stops. Luckily, it has the exposure compensation setting, so I could go in and adjust that. Other than that, not a bad camera overall. What I really, really like is the dual display screens. That is just so much easier if you're doing a selfie shot or you just want to set up something where you can see what's going on behind you. This will allow you to do it. So overall, not a bad little action camera.